guys, how's it going? Hope you're all okay after that awful match. If you paid for it, I feel sorry for you, because that was terrible to watch. That was just really, really boring, frustrating football that left a lot to be desired. It was from both teams. It was just the first couple of minutes was quite frantic, and it, looked like it could have been exciting, but then it slowed down and evened out, and it was just honestly the most boring game of football I've watched in a very long time. There's not loads happened. There wasn't much exciting to talk about. I have written my little list as I always do, so I'll rattle through that like I do, and I'll leave you to get on for the rest of your evenings. All right, so as always, we started 7th today. Excuse me. Yeah, we started 7th today. Potentially could have gone 5th, I think, at some point, if we had won and other games went our way. But we didn't, so there we go. Team sheet looked pretty good. I thought Labs would have been banned because he had his 10th yellow card, but I didn't look into it. So I might be wrong. I'll have to look into that for the next video, I guess. And Lewis Collins was starting, which I thought was good news. Nice to see him getting the starting 11. But we had Ryan Taylor again. He's not been as bad recently, but if that's the best thing you can say about a 6 foot, whatever he is, striker who's struggling to score any goals, he's not that bad recently. He probably shouldn't be starting. Nicky Maynard, I'm happy with that. But I'd like to see probably Podge start. I know he's had a quiet season compared to most, but that could be because he's not been getting the game time. But whatever, what do I know? I just mentioned Nick Townsend signed a new contract for a couple of years a couple of days ago, so that's good news that he's committed to the club, whether we go up or don't or whatever's going to happen. Yeah, game kicks off. Nicky Maynard had an early blast, and he did absolutely blast it, but unfortunately he skied it. That was literally in the opening couple of minutes. 4th minute then, 2 players clash heads. These are the sort of highlights I'm going to talk about because not a lot went on really. 2 players clash heads. It was Lewis Collins, but they got up and they were both fine in the end. But it added quite a lot of time on because it did take a long time with the concussion protocols and stuff like that, 8th minute, Benno's just playing hoofball from the back. And in the 8th minute, it's about the 4th one, and every single one of his hoofs up the pitch went out for throw-ins, and it carried on. I haven't mentioned it, but it was just awful. Just loads of hoofball tonight. It was really frustrating. Yeah, 12th minute, Lab's giving away free kicks again, doing what he does. I don't think he got carded tonight. I don't know how, but there we go. Just he's always rolling around. It's really frustrating to watch tonight. Rolling around loads. It just looks like he play for the rugby team, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, so opening 14 minutes, it seems like the plan is just to play hoofball, and that's all it really was. Trying to get it up to Ryan Taylor to flick it on, but I don't think he's capable of flicking anything on. Couldn't flick the kettle on, how about that? Yeah, opening 20 minutes, pretty frantic, pretty even game, frantic football, fast-paced football, kind of makes you think you're going to have an exciting game, but boy was I wrong. Labs gets fouled, but when he falls over, he grabs the ball like players do quite often now, and it is the most frustrating thing in the world. I absolutely hate it. And then because he grabbed the ball before the whistle was blown, the ref gave a free kick to against Labs, which is probably what should happen, and it went against us, but it is a stupid thing to do. You teach kids to play to the whistle, don't you? You don't just grab the ball and you fall over. 30 minutes in, 38 minutes in, pretty boring, relatively even football. Yeah, okay, and then a couple of minutes later, Nick Townsend catches the ball, saves the ball, and then he was pushed into the net, and they all celebrated like they'd scored. But the ref obviously gave us the free kick. Collins went off on an awesome run and passes to Maynard, but then Maynard doesn't sink the shot. Yeah, okay, half-time 0-0. What a boring half. And that's me talking about injuries and stuff. It was, yeah, pretty awful. But our 3 or 4 shots we had in that first half all came from Nick Maynard, and I know he's not sinking them, but nobody else had a shot, let alone on target, so, what else can you do? Who else do you play? He's the only, you could say take him off, but if no one else is getting shots off, then, if he's the only one getting shots off, whether they go in or not, he's the guy to start, I think. But like I said, I think I'd still prefer Podge to go up there with him. You get little and large, Podge doing his thing. Would be nice, but there we go. Yeah, Carlisle looked more likely to take this, in my opinion. Townsend makes a great save. He was one-on-one with I think it was their number 11. I don't know his name. I didn't look at it. That was the 46th minute. So one-on-one, goes for the shot, and Townsend made a great save with his feet. Matty Dolan gets the yellow card in the 53rd minute. He couldn't catch the guy he was marking because he's not the fastest person in the world. So he goes for a tactical foul, took the yellow. It's either that or it would be one-on-one with the keeper again. Yeah, Taylor not having a great game. He needs subbed off. That was slightly after that, so 55th-ish. Aaron Lewis smashes the crossbar with a volley in the 59th minute. Really, really close. He was on the edge of the D. A little bit of a kerfuffle in the box. Ball bounces out to him. He absolutely blasts it. And it just rattles the crossbar and goes over the top. Very frustrating because that obviously, as we know, it ended 0-0, so that could have been the game changer. Yeah, we need to... 62nd minute, I was like, wow, the attacking here really needs to change. I know guys in the forums and Twitter and all that sort of stuff are absolutely screaming for Gambin to get some time, and it just seemed like the game would have suited him. He probably could have come on and changed a lot, but we're all moaning about Michael Flynn and what he's doing and not doing and why he's not starting him. None of us really know, I guess. But the likes of Podge or Gambin, or Scrimshaw even, someone small, low centre of gravity and a bit of pace about him would have served the game well at this point, I think. Yeah, then Podge comes on for Nicky Maynard in the 72nd minute, and in my opinion, it should have been Podge on for Ryan Taylor and left Nicky on. Like I said, first half, Nicky was the only one getting shots off. Really frustrating game of football. 77th minute, that's all I could write. Really boring. We need these 3 points. This is massive. Like I said, we could have gone 5th. But obviously, that's not what happened. Podge with a lovely little chest control, a bit like Mark O'Brien's chest control volley sort of thing, half volley, whatever it would be. But it just gets saved. It wasn't the most amazing shot in the world, but the keeper absolutely had to save it, and it was not the easiest save in the world. That was the 80th minute. And then Matty Dolan unfortunately hobbles off after quite a bad head clash in the 87th minute. And he was on the ground for a fair few minutes. He tried to get up and went back down. It was unsettling to see for a guy who's been such a great player for us this season. Hopefully he's okay. I haven't watched any post-match stuff yet, so I've not heard from to see if there's any update on him, but hopefully he's okay. Oddly enough, it looked like we were going for the win because Kevin Ellison comes on for Matty Dolan. And then they added 7 minutes on. I was like, oh, could we do a Newport County? Could we get a last-minute winner, especially with Kevin Ellison coming on? But no, we couldn't. Brilliant. Yeah, 93rd minute. Taylor potentially could have squared to Kevin Ellison for a decent shot, but he goes for the left foot strike and absolutely skies it. That was fun. We did look more likely to nick the win in the closing couple of minutes. But apart from a really good run from young Lewis Collins, who played 90 minutes at this point, well, just over, this is probably the 94th, 95th minute, so like I said, there's 7 added minutes. Blistering pace, beats a couple of players like he had done a couple of times this evening. But it comes to nothing. He gets in the box, and the guy he'd beat, I think their feet literally clip each other, and he falls over, and they give a free kick, even though it wasn't a foul. But, there's nothing you can really do about that. Struggling for a man of the match performance, Aaron Lewis, or Lewis Collins for me. I think nobody else really did much, to be completely honest with you. Aaron Lewis, just because he had a couple of shots and a couple of decent slide tackle, last-ditch tackles and things like that, and that decent shot that rattled the crossbar. And Lewis Collins, just because his pace, for a youngster to be fighting to the end like we like to think we do, in the 95th minute to still be blasting about, chasing the ball, making brilliant runs, and he did make a couple of brilliant runs throughout the whole game. For his age, he's fantastic. I think he deserves a spot in the starting 11 every week. Who else is going to take his place and win us games? I don't know. I'm a little bit down. I'm usually pretty chirpy on these videos, but that was awful football. That was horrible to watch from both teams. We move up to 6th. with a point. Forest Green slipped down to 7th. And I think it's more frustrating because we had such a great start to the season and we were sat first for 2 months or whatever it was. And we did really, really fly high for a long time. And that's probably why it's a bit more frustrating. And you get people arguing about, yeah, but if we go up, we'll be straight back down. But it'd be a lot nicer to draw more crowd and earn more money and potentially get on TV, because I know a League One game or two gets on TV every season, doesn't it? And just to play some of the bigger guys. And if we did come back down, whatever, you know, you can't not get promoted just because you're scared of coming back down. And imagine staying up for a season or two, or, you know, whatever could happen, the money and the attracting better players. And I could waffle all night, couldn't I? I usually do. But I'm going to leave it there. We got Cambridge at home next. We got a couple of tough games. We got 4 home games and 2 away games left of this season. Our last game of the season, Southend, which I'd like to think bodes well for us if we need a couple of points or 3 points to the last game of the season, like we've left it previously against Morecambe, you know, with that jammer 87th minute equaliser. But Southend can turn up and we can't sometimes, you know. So it's League Two and it's football, anything can happen, we all know that. But there you go, there's what happened, not much. Yeah, it's a little bit annoying. I'm going to have a couple of beers, play some COD with my brother and forget about that match. Right, catch you next time, guys. See you later.